Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this special meeting of the Lebanon Utility Service Board for Thursday, May 25th, 2023. Let the record show that there was a working session prior and that this meeting was properly advertised. All of our board members are present this morning, less Bill Stoner. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing we'd like to do is offer public comment. I don't see anyone from the public here this morning, so we will offer that again at the end of our meeting. First action item is the IEDC reimbursement agreement. It's an action item, and Jeff Jacob is going to present this to the board.
Yeah, thank you. The water supply agreement has been a topic of several meetings, including the working session. It is an agreement between Citizens Regional Water Resources and what we're Citizens Energy Group, as an affiliate of that entity. It's a 25-year agreement providing for the delivery of 6 MGD of water by January 2026 and 4 MGD of water by 2027. We have walked through, there's a minimum take affiliated with that. There will be 2 connection points as detailed in the attached map, and vehicles for us to reduce or review the various charges that as this agreement in relationship with IEDC matures. This is an agreement to supply water to the city, which includes the LEAP district. I think it's important to note that this is a secondary water source supply agreement for the city of Lebanon, and will be, if the board so chooses, will be an additional sourcing which we have been studying for many years. I'm happy to answer any questions related to that agreement.
Let's see, so first on the agenda was the reimbursement agreement. You're talking about the water supply agreement?
Aaron, I apologize.
So well, it doesn't make any difference what we do it in, but that's...
Yeah, so the...
Why don't you just speak to both of them at the same time?
Apologies. My notes were set up different. So the water supply agreement has a fixed charge and a variable charge with it. What we have done to help backstop some of the build-out time and projection for users in the LEAP district is the mayor was able to secure an additional sort of safety net, if you will, of a $2 million payment from IEDC to apply to any uncovered fixed charges within the water supply agreement as users come into the projected LEAP district, excluding Lilly. That capacity has been accounted for, paid for, and is separate from this agreement. That $2 million would apply to the aggregate usage of fixed charges within the LEAP district. So if there is a shortfall in that monthly fixed charge, we could draw on the, if any, we could draw on the $2 million promise to pay from Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Additionally, there is a provision in there, as we have much discussed and debated, and we heard from IEDC prior to this, that the intention would be if there are not sufficient users after the exhausting of that $2 million, that IEDC would step in and have some discussion, and we would renegotiate that, whatever that would look like. With that agreement is also an addendum. Again, we've much discussed and debated that addendum, but it is a form contract in entering into agreements with the state. We don't necessarily love those terms, but it it partners with the supplemental payment agreement with IEDC. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jeff on the water supply agreement?
I would like to make a comment on that addendum with the IEDC fixed charge agreement. That addendum includes language that the IEDC can terminate the contract with or without cause at any time. And that to me means that we, in essence, if the IEDC chooses, have no contract. Having said that, I've come to terms with the water supply agreement and the fixed charge IEDC payment agreement because our mayor has convinced me that he's ratepayer friendly, that he, working with our council, have done what they can and have additional plans, if needed, to protect our ratepayers from, in essence, subsidizing the LEAP development. So with my comfort level of the mayor and his ratepayer-friendly stance as carried through by our council, Jeff Jacob, I am at peace with both of these agreements and plan to vote for them both.
Right, thank you, Aaron. Any other comments, questions?
I think the only thing I would say is that, you know, we're in a different time, and there are no agreements out there these days, I think, where there's no risk involved. We're going to assume some risk, but that risk has been minimized repeatedly and well, I think, through our council and through our partners with IEDC, and also what soon to be will be our partner with CEG. So,
Good point.
And I agree with both Aaron and Tim.
Okay, do we want to vote, do you need to discuss IEDC reimbursement agreement as well, or do you want to vote on the water supply agreement?
I did cover that.
First? Okay.
Yes, but,
Okay.
so I would suggest if the board is so inclined, to move to approve the IEDC reimbursement agreement, discuss, vote, and then, and that would include with the addendum.
Okay.
And then the same order with the water supply agreement.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion on the IEDC reimbursement agreement and addendum before we entertain a motion? Right, with that, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the IEDC reimbursement agreement with attached or supported addendum as presented in our working session and also in this board meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Tim and a super close second with Ann and Aaron on the IEDC reimbursement agreement and addendum. Any additional questions or discussion?
Let's see, may I have the second, please? For the
You
minutes?
absolutely may have the second.
All
Thank
right,
you.
we'll let the record show that motion was made by Tim, seconded by Aaron. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, board. So we'll jump to the water supply agreement.
If I may comment with the water supply agreement, if someone were to style a motion approving that agreement and the letter of support
And the letter.
and the letter of support, obviously authorizing Ed to sign those, that would be great.
I make a motion to approve the water supply agreement and supporting letter with regards to our water supply agreement with CEG, and also,
The,
CRW.
CRW,
the letter
the letter.
to the IURC.
Also, but to have General Manager Ed Baskell sign any and all appropriate documents. That's what I was.
Okay.
Second. Please, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to have some discussion.
Absolutely. We have a motion by Tim and a second by Aaron. Discussion or questions?
The letter that we're sending to the IURC in support of the Citizens Energy and CRW filing for approval of what we're doing includes the following paragraph. The letter does, and I want to read that. Negotiations between Lebanon Utilities and citizens over several months have allowed us to reach a mutually agreeable arrangement whereby citizens will deliver water on a wholesale basis to Lebanon Utilities, which in turn will provide retail water service to customers in the LEAP district. Lebanon Utilities supports the resultant wholesale water supply agreement, which was the result of good faith arm's length negotiations, and which Lebanon Utilities believes contains rates, charges, terms, and conditions of service that are just, reasonable, result in no rate increase for existing Lebanon Utilities customers, and are in the public interest.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, guys. Next item is ACH Electronic Funds Direct Deposit Transfer Resolution Number 2023-05. It's an action item, and our counsel, Jeff Jacob, will read this resolution.
Yeah, but by way of brief background, as you're aware, Sandra Morgan, the CFO, is working with the State Board of Accounts in an ongoing audit. During that process, it was realized that, or the State Board of Accounts pointed out or requested a resolution authorizing the common used, very recognized, long-standing, decades-old use of ACH and EFT and direct deposit transfers. And Sandra was unable to supply such a resolution, if in fact one was needed at the time, to support payments that we have made to IMPA, the state has made to us for decades. And as part of that audit process, we have brought this to the board to clean this up, as the city did earlier this week with their process, and have adopted a very similar resolution. I'm happy to answer questions, otherwise I will just read the resolution. This is a resolution of the City of Lebanon Utility Service Board authorizing automatic clearinghouse electronic funds / direct deposit transfers. The City of Lebanon, Indiana owns and operates through its utility service board and municipal electric, water, wastewater, and telecommunication utilities known as Lebanon Utilities. Whereas the city finds it necessary to make payments to vendors and employees electronically by automated clearinghouse, or ACH, electronic fund transfers, EFTs, or direct deposit pursuant to Indiana Code 361811.5, as may be recodified or amended. Whereas proper authorization and execution of ACH, EFT, and direct deposit payments reduce the risk of erroneous and fraudulent transactions while increasing efficiency. Whereas the utility has determined that the adoption of this resolution will provide guidelines and authorization in processing of ACH, EFT, and direct deposit for the utility and is in its best interest. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Lebanon Utility Service Board, the following. Automated clearinghouse is a nationwide payment and collection system that provides for electronic distribution and settlement of funds. EFT, the distribution from a bank account by means of a wire, direct deposit, ACH, or other electronic means. Direct deposit, the electronic transfer of a payment directly from the account of the payer to the recipient's account. The chief financial officer of the utility, or is assigned by the CFO, is authorized to make certain payments via ACH electronically for and on behalf of the utility, and to receive ACH payments directed by the utility. Authorized payments include vendor payments, wire transfers, customer direct debit, payroll, bond payments, loan payments, and other accounts payable. All ACH payments properly made or received prior to the adoption of this resolution are hereby ratified and approved. Section 3, the CFO of the utility is authorized to make online transfers of utility funds to the extent those funds have been may otherwise be transferred under and pursuant to all applicable rules and regulations. All online transfers made prior to the adoption of this resolution are hereby ratified and approved. Section 4, the CFO of the utility is required to maintain adequate documentation of the above referenced transactions for future audits as provided by law. Section 5, this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption. Happy to answer questions.
Thanks, Jeff. So this kind of brings us to the ACH era, which has been around for many decades, correct? And kind of solidifies that as something official, is that?
Correct.
Got any questions for Jeff or discussion? If not, I entertain a motion.
I move to adopt the ACH Electronic Funds Direct Deposit Transfers Resolution Number 2023-05.
Second.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Tim to adopt resolution number 2023-05 as read by Council Jeff Jacob. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, any other business from the board, for the board this morning? We'll offer public comment again. I don't see any members of the public here for comment. Ed, you aware of any public comment that we need to discuss?
No, sir.
Okay, it looks like our next meeting is scheduled for the 7th of June, 5 p.m. Without further ado, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Bye, Ann.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, everyone.
You gone?